Welcome everyone, it's Unstoppable Stiletsy, and I'm here to do our first Age of Empires 2, the American World Mod Civ preview. The Civ today will be the Araucans, or as you know them from Aoe2 Wars of Liberty, the Mapuche. A very special Civ, I must add. They're quite different from any other Mesoamerican Civ you've seen in Aoe2 up to this point. Main idea is we're going to go over the tech tree first and then get into some deathmatch gameplay, so it's nice and quick and you can see their late game tech tree in action very quickly. Here is the tech tree, and we'll begin with what kind of civ are they. They are classed as a infantry and siege civilization. This looks pretty reflective of how they were in Wars of Liberty. You know, they had really strong units from their war hut, right? You could sort of think of the sword line as related to the triangulaf, right? So, like, really strong against infantry. And the spear line would be very close to the weichafe, right? So, very good against cavalry. Also, just like the Mapuche in Wars of Liberty, this Araucan Civ also has access to cavalry. One of the other specialties that the Mapuche were pretty well known for in Wars of Liberty. So they're the only Mesoamerican Civ that can construct a stable, which is pretty significant. You know, they can actually make some mound units here. They can actually get access to cav archers and some other caveats. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's get down to their unique bonuses. First one is exclusively for their infantry. Upgrades to two-handed swordsman is free. This basically means you're going to save a lot of resources tucking into your champions once you hit Imperial Age, you know. Whether you're going to be go champions at the start and play sort of like an infantry civ, or you're going to get them later in trash wars to dominate their trash units. This is going to save you a lot of gold that you can actually put right up front into making some champions, which is really good. Because as you know, you have to get a two-handed swordsman before you can actually get the champion technology. In terms of military builds themselves, they are 35% cheaper. This is pretty significant. This means your barracks, your archery range, your siege workshop, and yes, your stables, which only this Mesoamerican Civ has, is 35% cheaper in its cost. Quite useful. Very useful, actually, because that means earlier in the game you're going to have a much easier time macroing towards different military units, which I think is a pretty nice thing to have. Their final unique bonus here is siege towers have a plus 10 carry capacity. If you like playing games on Arena, I think this one is pretty good for you. You're going to be able to fit in more units into your siege towers, you know, either archers or infantry, right? So if you're playing Arena and you think, hey, I can never get enough units over that wall, now you're going to be able to with this little bonus here, which is really good. In terms of their unique unit, it's the weichafe, which cavalry, something we don't think of when we think of Mesoamerican Civs in Aoe2, a unique cavalry. We'll see what that is in just a little bit. Here are the unique technologies. So first we got Coleyoin, I believe, if you think of it from a Spanish pronunciation, or it would be Colelawin in an English one. Essentially what it does is your infantry and your xoxitl warriors get plus 5 versus archers, and spearmen, the spear type category, is eliminated. I don't know what that part is, but this one up here though is really, really useful. And yes, it's the same xoxitl warrior you get in Definitive Edition. So as part of the quality of life from DE stuff, the developers actually brought back the xoxitl warrior to Native American stables in Aoe2. For all the other civs, this means they're going to have to use a monk to convert a stable to actually train these. But in the rare case of the Araucans, they can construct their own stables and make these themselves. They have the same stats as they do in DE, so the stats of a European knight, without much other upgrades, right, besides damage mostly. With the exception, of course, being the Araucans, which we'll see in just a little bit. And the second technology is Nemokaguan Tactics. This is actually a big bun technology we have in Wars of Liberty for the Mapuche. It also affects artillery or siege units. So in this game what it does is, Siege weapons increase attack versus buildings 50% except for the trebuchets. So your onagers, your rams, your scorps, they're going to be much better at taking down buildings now. And I think it definitely fits into the theme of an infantry and siege civ, for sure. Their team bonus is pretty simple. Infantry get +2 line of sight. Definitely good for super early game, especially if you're going like man-at-arm archers or something and you just want to see where your enemy's going, right? You want to see their base, where the villagers are located, so you can hit them with your archers. Pretty useful bonus, I think. So let's get into the tech tree itself and start seeing what they're really good at. Araucans in the archery range, not the best, I would say. They don't get Arbalest, which is pretty serious. They do get Elite Skirm, though. And just as a side note, they do get all the blacksmith upgrades, including the cavalry ones. So that is definitely very good for this civ. That means that at least they're going to have up to Bracer in terms of their damage and range. The Skirms certainly are going to be pretty solid, I think. And Cab Archers. Cab Archers in the Mesoamerican civ. When have you ever saw this, folks? Like never, right? Yeah, because Mapuches, or Araucans as they're called here, are good on horseback. They get actual access to Cab Archers, Probably would have been too much of a hassle to give them a sling unit on horseback, so they probably just stuck with the Cab Archer as the basis, right? They actually do get some archery range technologies here. They get a thumb ring, very good for all these archer units, and partian tactics. In terms of overall archery range, I think non-heavy Cab Archers with partian tactics is certainly something we rarely ever see, I think. I don't know if you're going to use it much in your games, honestly, but again, they do have Bracer and full armor on their archer units, so maybe they might be useful. We'll see. We'll see when we get to that deathmatch game. In terms of barracks, though, the barracks is absolutely packed. Full sword line, full spear line, also all the upgrades for the Eagle Warriors, up to Elite Eagle Warrior. Also, some quality of life, Definitive Edition barracks technologies do exist in this mod. You got supplies, of course, to make your militia line cheaper in food, and gambesons to improve their pierce armor. So you definitely have that as the Araucans, fitting into the infantry civ theme really well, squires and arson as well. Their barracks is just perfect, I would say. You can't get much more perfect than this, really. Just about everything under the sun. Stable. Now, when we were normally thinking of Mesoamerican civs, we would never bring up the stable, but they have one. They actually got one. What did they get, though? They get trash units, right? They get the scout line up to light cav. Not bad, actually, because they actually get bloodlines and a full blacksmith, also husbandry. So these light cav are actually pretty well stacked, believe it or not. Just missing the hussar upgrade, which, it's bad, but not too bad. Especially considering how bad Korean hussars are. Definitely. xoxitl warriors, they have access to that as well. The great thing about the xoxitl warriors for the Araucans is, because they have a full blacksmith, they actually do get improved armor. So they actually will be stronger in Imperial Age than your everyday knight will be, right? Well, at least pretty much they're going to be pretty decent with these in the late game. They're not going to be great, and they're probably going to be weaker than Cavaliers even for a lot of civs. But still, with bloodlines, husbandry, and a full blacksmith, the xoxitl warriors might have their niche somewhere, especially considering their technology here, giving them more multipliers against the archer units. That might be very useful. Let's move on to the dock. So, in terms of Navy, Araucans get access to heavy demo ships, which is pretty nice. They get fast fire ships, so they're great at countering other ships really well. They get the Mesoamerican shared siege ship, the Canoa. This is the Native Americans' replacement to the cannon galleon, which they obviously wouldn't be getting this early in the timeline. But unfortunately, they do lack galleon. In general, we find that the Araucans do suffer from late-game archer-style units, so they don't get Arbalester, they don't get heavy Cab Archer, they don't get Galleon. That said, though, they do at least have up to bracer in terms of their range. They also get access to shipwright, which is a nice thing that not every civ gets in terms of being able to afford more ships. Careening, they have access to careening but not dry dock, which, means the ships won't be able to maneuver as fast. Transporting might be a little painful, so just bear that in mind. But in general, I would say, their dock looks okay. They're not certainly the Vikings, but at least they're able to counter enemy galleons effectively with the demo ships and the fire ships. So they definitely have that option to look forward to. In terms of defenses, they lack fortified walls, which is a problem. They also lack keep and bombard towers, so defensive-wise, they do have some holes that they have to work with. Definitely for sure. So definitely don't use this civ defensively. It's just not going to work out too good for you. Now, in terms of monastery, their monks are pretty rubbish, I would say. No sanctity, no illumination, no block printing. Theocracy, they don't have that. They don't have redemption. So it's very lucky that they can actually make their stable, because they can't make access stables the traditional way the meso civs do, since they don't actually have redemption to convert them, which is, it's not as unfortunate as you might think, since they can construct their own stables. In general, you really don't want to go monks too much with the Mapuche or the Araucans. I'm going to alternate that name pretty much, since they're sort of the same people, same civ, same ideas, right, as Wars for Liberty's Mapuche civ. At the castle, you see they missing spies and treason. I don't know how big this is. It could be big in some situations. They're missing hoarding, so that, again, not the best defensive civ. Their castles are not that tanky, so be careful of those trebs right at the start of Imperial Age. Even a bunch of villagers stabbing your castles with their little knives might be able to take it down every now and then, who knows. Here's their unique unit, though, the weichafe. What the weichafe is, it's a anti-cavalry cavalry. So think sort of like the infernales from Wars of Liberty, right? The Argentine cav with the lance that thrusts its lance towards other mountain units. Same concept. So if you're dealing with, say, a lot of knights, cavaliers, paladins, hussars, weichafes are a great way to deal with that on horseback. And I think compared to the spear line, they're probably going to be better in some situations, including maneuverability-wise, since mountain units are naturally faster than infantry. So definitely keep that in mind. Nothing really missing in the town center, right? I don't think most civs usually aren't lacking much at the town center, right? Siege workshop. Again, the Mesoamerican civs, so of course they wouldn't have bombard cannons. They do get everything else, though. They get siege ram, onager, heavy scorp, so kind of on par with a siege workshop like the Mongols one. So Araucans almost seems like a Native American version of the Celts, almost, right? Okay-ish cavalry, good siege, good infantry, very Celt-like in that regard. Blacksmith, absolutely phenomenal. They get everything. Even the cavalry upgrades, right? Since they can make their own mountain units. Very solid. In terms of the university, they are lacking a lot of defensive upgrades. They lack the keep, bombard tower, as we discussed before, but they're also lacking architecture, which is very serious. They're also missing the heated shot. So this means when it comes to water warfare, right? Enemy navies are going to have an easier time attacking the Araucans, pretty much, so they better be careful of that. In terms of economy, they're lacking a lot of stuff in terms of gold income, so they lack gold shaft mining and guilds, so both your early game access to gold as well as one of your late game accesses to gold. Also, they lack crop rotation, but it's not as bad since they do have the two-man saw to compensate for that, so it's not like they're at a total loss in that food and wood trash unit economy, if you will. Yeah, so what do you think? I think it's a very solid civ if you ask me, Having access to cavalry is definitely very good. Their full siege workshop is really awesome, full blacksmith. I just don't like the lack of defenses as much, right? Certainly the lack of archers is a little alarming sometimes, but if you can do well with like the infantry, right, going weichafe with eagle warriors sometimes, maybe that's a deadly combination that we don't know about yet, that you might only experience in some of those unique civ makers in DE, right? So here's the plan now. We've seen what the Araucans can do. Now we're going to see what they can do in live action in a deathmatch, right? And it doesn't have to be a full game, right? We just want to see, okay, what does it look like against a basic AI opponent, right? And in terms of difficulty of the AI, I'm just going to go standard. I'm not looking to win here. I just want to, have a pretty basic bot that's going to give me time to do some construction. Fastest game speed. We want to be quick here. We don't want to spend too much time just looking at villagers banging their hammers into the wood. Let's begin against our colonizers, the Spaniards. Here we go. Araucans versus España. So here's our unique looking town center here. Very Mesoamerican looking. First thing I'm going to do is probably get a castle down. I'm going to have one ville on the houses. Since I'm playing pretty slowly here today, I'm not going to worry too much about optimal play. I'm just going to try to mainly show you what these buildings look like, right? Because these buildings look pretty cool design-wise, right? Look at this house. We're building a castle now. I'm going to put a bracks down. Let me put a house over here. What do you think? Should I try to get some villagers on gold and try to compete a little bit? Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's get a mining camp here, too. Yeah, this is the mining camp. I'll get like one on lumber so you can see what the lumber camp looks like for the Civ. And maybe we'll even get like a mill on one of those berries so you can see what the mill looks like. So this is what the lumber camp looks like. Yep, get a mill over there. Here's the mill. Pretty nice looking mill. And the one thing you can't do with other Mesoamerican civs, stable. Yep, stable. And here's an archery range. And I know the university and blacksmith are kind of useless here, but let's just make them for fun anyways so you can see what they look like. University. And here comes the blacksmith. And then we're going to make the church. Yep. Let's do that. So let's train some of the xoxitl warriors now. The good thing about these xoxitl warriors is even in this late game situation, right? They at least have the stats of the knight with some good blacksmith armor upgrades, right? So they're not going to fall as quickly as an unupgraded knight is. That's at least a good thing, right? And they at least have some of the tankiness of the bloodlines working on them too, so that's pretty solid. If you look here at the monastery, their priest has the same look as the one for the Aztecs and Mayans and Incas, so not too much different there. Just grab a little stone, why not? I'm going to just make some weichafes right now. I think in general, the Spaniards like to make a lot of paladins, as we just saw there. So we're definitely going to want to make some mounted units. Why don't we get some weichafe, Instead of shelling through all our gold up at the front, we should probably make some trash. The skirms are certainly okay, so we could do that. Halberdiers are okay. Let's get a barracks down. Let's get a barracks right here. Yep, let me get us. We need population. Let's get some pop. Let's get some population going. Let me see here. Yep, let me do that. Yeah, no. Just keep building houses. We need lots and lots of poppy here if we want to make big armies. Right now he's just going around, and this is where he's deploying right now. I figured we'd just do full view here so we could see the enemy gathering up. lots of cavalry. You know, lots of cavalry. So we need lots of spearmen to defend against that in general. We're going to need lots and lots of trash halberdiers to fight our way through that. I don't think you want... We'll make some cav archers for fun. Alright, I'll make some cav archers. See how effective they are without the heavy cav archer upgrade, but with the partian tactics active. For sure. Yep, got that house constructed. Once we get a decent sized army, we should be able to run up front and start pushing on them. And see how we do. So we have a siege workshop, right? So maybe some scorps to start this out. You know, a couple scorpions might help us out pushing. And how many vills do we have in other areas? Do we have any... Let's get a castle down over here for defense. You know, I definitely like the design of these castles quite a bit. And just for fun, this is what the Wonder looks like. Yeah, this is the Wonder right here. Looks very Native American-esque, for sure. Almost looks a little Nordic in a way, like Viking-like, in a sense. Now we're just going to put a dock down here for fun. You know, we could maybe even get some canoas here to shoot some flaming bolts at the enemy. That would be pretty solid. Here's all our weichafes. Yeah, we need some pop though, so I'm thinking let's get another castle so we can get some even more queues of weichafes coming out. Lots of halberdiers. The monkus. The monkus is trying to get my relic. I'm gonna take him out. Yeah, in general, you're seeing, you know, this is what a Araucan army might look like for you. In general, of course, right? You're probably going to want to put some other things in, be more specific to their SID bonuses. I imagine a lot of the siege towers are going to be added into your games, especially those like Arena. And one more thing I'm missing here is champions. We need champions. This Civ is really good with its champions. In particular, they're going to be good for attacking his archer units, which he might make some of, because he's an AI, and AIs like to train everything under the sun. So we'll get that. Get some weichafes here. Let me get some trebuchets. Yep, I'll get some over here. Get some over here. Get some weichafes out of here. I'm just looking for like a decent, clean fight here. I don't think we need to really like get into a big brawl. Exactly. Just onagers? Maybe. Alright, he's retreated into his quarters now. I don't know what that means. Is that good? Bad? What do you think? I think we'll be good once we get a little bit more pop. I think maybe 150 pop going might be good to start pushing. I'll get some more xoxitl warriors out of our stable here and some light cav. Yeah, I think once we get to like 150 or so pop, we should be ready to start attacking soon. Yeah, definitely. Let me get that. Almost there. Just gotta get 3 more houses down. And how many other vills we got here? We got one over here, right? I'm just going to put a castle here for fun, right in the back. That's a fun idea. A capital idea. Is the British explorer Moore's Liberty says, tally-ho. No, he doesn't say tally-ho. He says, jolly good show and capital idea. That's what we'll do. I'm ready to... I can start pushing with the trebs now, probably, though. Why don't we do that? Start moving in with the trebuchets. So what's up with the lack of population? Like a poppy, man, is pretty serious here. And by the way, don't play this slow in an actual deathmatch, kids. You'll get completely creamed in the first number of seconds. You know, especially if you're dealing with the Goths or whatever, charging with Huskarls. Good luck. Good luck. Never play this slow, kids, when you're doing deathmatch. Deathmatch in like actual gameplay is one of the fiercest, most quickest combative situations you'll find yourself in RTS-wise in AoE. Alright, so now we gotta get these trebs to safety. Pack these things up. Here we see if the weichafes and the halberdiers can actually hold their own against paladins. Right now they seem to be doing pretty okay. You know what I mean? I think they're actually doing alright here for right now. Look at how well the weichafes with the halberdiers are doing against the paladins. They're eating them right now for breakfast, lunch, and dinner right now. This is quite useful. And just because I see some halberdiers coming out, you know what I can do? I can add in even more of my unupgraded cav archers. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Cav archers without the heavy cav archer upgrade. And while we're doing that, we can start moving trebs forward and start attacking all these enemy buildings. Start pushing back a little bit, at least try to. Get some halberdiers here. Halberdiers mixed in with the weichafes is probably the best way to go at this point. You know what I mean? Since he is mixing in halberdiers, which can threaten our weichafes quite a bit. Let's get the TC first, though. Let's get the TC. And maybe we can add that archer in, too. Because maybe having a little bit of firepower is what we need here. Alright, let's move this army in. Get the barracks down. As you're seeing here, you know, even though they're a bit undercut in their archery range, you know, in some cases, see, these cav archers can shoot down halbs one-on-one pretty easily. So, I mean, you might end up using these in the end. In some situations, of course, right? Certainly their siege workshop is quite helpful, right? Archers, heavy scorps. They got everything they need. And then the last piece of the pie, we can add some eagle warriors in too. You haven't done that yet. This is the only civ, right, that you've probably seen in a while that actually can combine mounted cavalry with eagle warriors. That's something we don't see a lot of and probably don't see enough of, right, in terms of civ design. So yeah, this is pretty neat. What now? State barracks. Why aren't we taking this out? They packing up? Oh, I gotta pack you guys up. Alright, let me do that. Yeah, let me move you over here. Get this down. Oh yeah, I'll attack this as well. Take out this TC. Just get everything I possibly can on the front lines, you know, because we are gonna need it. Probably some more weichafes too, because why not? I'm going to use this archer and try to hit some of his, if we can. Cut my way through here a little bit. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Get that archer with these. You need to do that. Oh, get the. Yep, snipe, snipe. See, here's the problem though. Now he's got archer. Let me try to counteract it. Yep, got that one. That one. Oh, perfect. Alright. Yeah, archers can be a real problem in games, you know, you gotta be very careful of them. Definitely can be a serious threat, so definitely be careful of that. So always, you know, keep in mind when you're building your strategy, you know, you can count archers, because certainly archers with halberdiers is a pretty deadly combination that can threaten your matches. You know, since the halberdiers are basically trash, it doesn't mean if they die it really matters, right? Because you can have 1,000,000 halberdiers, right? You can't have 1,000,000 champions though, so that's why you never see like champion with archer too much, unless somebody's really heavy on the gold. When I used to do FFA a lot, right? If I could steal somebody's market, if you could play the Slavs and combine the Drohizna champions with archers, that's bonkers, you know. Just because you can keep 4 new ones. Now I have to unpack these again, pack them and move them. weichafe. Skirms. Not bad. Let me get that. Let me get that. This. Huh, okay. Let me get that down. I think we've beaten them. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna assume that we might have done this. Maybe, baby. Maybe, baby. We might have completed this. We'll see, though. I like how he, sticks all his castles around the town center, though. This bot is literally Rex Goodwin. You know, literally a million fortresses around the town center. This is a Rex Goodwin play, man. Maybe this is where he learned it from, playing Aoe2. You know, I mean, it's totally possible. Yeah, because I saw the Aztec bots in Age of Mythology, The Return of the Gods, doing the same sort of thing with their fort structure. You know, they just surround the town center with them and turn the thing into a big wall of pain for anyone trying to go in or out of it. Take this castle out. Now we just take out the last castle here. I didn't even think I was going to win this. I was just playing, you know, for funsies here and not even macroing or anything. Probably because I set the bot to a decent difficulty here for myself. So, you know what? Let's just burn some of these castles down. Unfortunately, these bots never make walls, so I can't demonstrate the siege tower having a plus 10 carry capacity. That's kind of unfortunate and stinks a little bit, but at least we can see sort of, you know, in like a deathmatch, right? This is how, you know, the Araucans and the Mapuche would actually behave in like an actual deathmatch, a late game Imperial Age fight. Yep, and now we're just going to take out this castle here. Once I take the castles out, I'm pretty much done for the game. 100%. Bring the skirms in. Yeah, I mean, even in the trash unit situation, I'm not in horrible shape. Oh yeah, the one building I want to show you is where's my villas? Let's put them all on gold. Yeah, get a market though. Get a mercado. You know, a supermercado. Get a market so you can see what the market. This is what the market looks like, and we can build a tower too for fun. This is what a tower looks like. So yeah, this is what those look like for the most part. Seem to be doing pretty good down here, so I'm not too worried. Yeah, then I have to pack these again. Don't they pack themselves in Defib Edition if I right click on a faraway building? Yeah, for some reason in the old game they made you do things manually. Like the good old days, the old fashioned days. Yeah. We had to right click, we had to control our own trebuchets and pack them and unpack them. They didn't just figure it out for us, we had to do it ourselves. Yeah. Alright, so the glass castle is down, and I think we're up. GG. The colonizers have been colonized by the OP Mapuche Civ. There we have it, folks. That's the Araucans. The Araucan Civ in Age of Empires 2. The American World HD Edition 2.1. If you haven't gotten this mod yet, I totally recommend you get it. The way you get it is going to the Steam Workshop, finding it, enabling it, and the text mod that comes with it, and then booting up your Age of Empires 2 HD Edition. Hopefully they do port this to the Defib Edition, because it's probably one of the more, I would say, more sophisticated mods of HD Edition, and it would be great to see this brought over into the next generation of AoE2, and the next generation of players by extension. If you enjoyed the Civ preview, let me know. If you didn't enjoy it and you want me to go over more stuff for Araucans, let me know as well. I hope to do ones for the Daiguita, the Teano, the Dutch, and the Anasazi as well, so definitely look out for those coming up in the future. I'm signing off now, though, so see you next time in this wonderful, wonderful mod with lots of Native American civs. In the Dutch, you know. It's kind of funny how you think it's all Native Americans, and then you have to bring up the Dutch as well. Yeah, bit strange, definitely.